What's new from Apple? There's the new iPhone 16 Pro, built for Apple Intelligence. And it comes with the all-new camera control, giving you an easier way to quickly access your camera tools. The new Apple Watch Series 10 has our biggest display and our thinnest design ever. And this? It's the sound of active noise cancellation, now available on one of 2 new AirPods 4 models. So quiet. Check out all of the new products and new features at apple.com. You can even buy yourself something new. See apple.com for product availability updates. Apple Intelligence coming this fall.
Sergeant and Mrs. Smith, you are going to love this house.
Is that a tub in the kitchen?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
With Walmart's new fresh and frozen subscriptions, you can save time on your weekly grocery shopping.
Dad, you're supposed to be grocery shopping.
And miss the chance to embarrass you in front of your friends? I subscribe to snacks and wet napkins. You know how messy you are.
Dad!
Walmart. Subscribe to your weekly list.
Why was Cinderella wandering around the pumpkin patch? She was in the market for a new ride.
You see? You're stupid minds. Stupid!
Why did the dragon cross the road? To buy a lair freshener. What's faster than the speed of light? The speed of your dad saying, "Turn off the lights."
If you just read the bio for Dr. Steve, host of Weird Medicine on Sirius XM 103 and made popular by 2 really comedy shows, Opie and Anthony and Ron and Bez, you would have thought that this guy was a bit of, a clown.
Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to?
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola vibes dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valves, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic echographic and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in a tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease. So I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve!
From the world-famous Cardiff Electric Network studios, it's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve. My little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, gives me street cred with the wacko alternative medicine assholes. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
And my partner in all things, Tacie. Hello, Tacie.
Hello.
And my partner in everything else, basically, DNP Carissa. Hello, Carissa.
Hello.
This is a show for people who have never listened to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you have a question that you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call. 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Visit our Twitter at Weird Medicine or at DrScottWM. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcasts, medical news, and stuff you can buy. Most importantly, we are not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking it over with your healthcare provider. All right, very good. Please don't forget stuff.drsteve.com. That's stuff.drsteve.com for all your online shopping needs. Click through to Amazon, or you can scroll down and see stuff that we talk about on this show, including the Rody robotic tuner. And it really helps keep us on the air. Also, if you're having erectile dysfunction issues and you don't want to take or can't take the PDE5 inhibitors like Cialis, Viagra, or Levitra, you might want to consider the Phoenix acoustic wave device. It's the same device that they use in the med spas for erectile dysfunction, except you can do it at home. You don't have to have some stranger holding on to your junk while you do the treatment. You get a discount if you go to ed.drsteve.com. That's like ED, Echo Delta, like erectile dysfunction, ed.drsteve.com. And then Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net, which we'll talk about in a minute, and patreon.com/Weird Medicine. That's our show that we do is completely new content, classic shows, interviews with celebrities, but also 100% of all questions sent through the Patreon portal get answered. And then if you want me to say fluid to your mama, and we've got to do 2 cameos today. We're going to go to cameo.com/weirdmedicine. Okay, you guys don't have to do it. It's fine. I'll do it my damn self. Fine. Jesus, forget it. Anyway, cameo.com/weirdmedicine. If you don't want Carissa and Tacie doing it, then just go to cameo.com/weirdmedicine.
I'll do it. I was
it
just
will
being
just
an
be
asshole.
me. Of course, I'm just being an asshole
shit.
too. Oh my God. Yes, I'm being an asshole as well. I'm trying to be funny because it's supposed to be a funny show, and obviously failing miserably. So there you go.
I'm really glad you explained that.
Cameo.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Lord and Lady Douchebag.
Scorn and defiance, slight regard, contempt.
All right. Anyway. All right. You got anything else? Let's get going. All right. Don't forget Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net, simplyherbals.net. And so, Tacie, are you ready for your time of topics?
It's Tacie's time of topics. A time for Tacie to discuss topics of the day. Not to be confused with Topic Time with Harrison Young, which is copyrighted by Harrison Young and Area 58 Public Access. And now, here's Tacie.
Yeah. Time was kind of an issue this week.
So no Tacie's time of topics.
No.
All right. Okay, then how about this one then? It's time for Fast Vag Facts, a segment about everyone's favorite body part. And now, here's your hostess with the mostest, DNP Carissa. What do you got?
I already talked about the vag.
Boo.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Do we need more vag facts?
All right, I'm just messing with you guys. I know you didn't have anything. You want to, Scott, have you got anything? Because I've got a couple of good phone calls.
Oh, hell no.
Okay, good deal.
I was counting on these two.
Oh, but he doesn't get booed.
Listen.
Okay, he gets booed.
I ain't got nothing. Let's clap our hands for Scott.
All right.
At least we're consistent.
Here we go. Oops.
I mean, I was reading
Number
an
one
interesting
thing,
article.
don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
All right, here's a good one. Carissa, you may know the answer to
Dr.
this.
Steve.
Yeah.
It's Matt in Charleston. How are you?
Hey, Matt. Good.
Good.
Thanks.
I'm doing good. Hey, so can you talk about asparagus and why it makes your pee smell weird?
Hell
and
yeah.
are there any other foods or vegetables that do the same thing? Thanks. But
You guys have anything on this? We've talked about, touched on this once before, but there's some new science on this.
Oh, there's, yeah.
Mhm.
No, I haven't seen the new stuff.
Sulfur.
Yes. Okay.
Lucky guess.
All right. Well, okay.
Give thyself a bell.
Okay, we're starting out strong.
Son of a...
So, but it's not just sulfur, though. There is...
It gets broken down into sulfur byproducts.
Give thyself...
All right, I'm not going to do this.
Don't you dare.
Who doesn't know that?
In case you get jealous. Does anybody know what it is that gets broken down into sulfur products, though?
The asparagus?
The chewed up asparagus.
Chewed up
That's
asparagus.
because you're an idiot.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about eating asparagus.
What's in asparagus that makes it asparagus-y is this molecule called asparagusic acid. And the thing is that when you eat asparagus, it in some people is broken down, and you get this sulfur-containing compound that's extremely volatile. And it smells sort of like rotten cabbage or metallic rotten cabbage or something. It smells weird. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is, not everybody produces or breaks down this molecule the same way. And not everybody can smell it. And that's why it's controversial, because there are some people that cannot smell it, and it's called asparagus anosmia. An meaning not, and osmia meaning smell.
And I never will smell it because the shit is disgusting.
Oh, I love asparagus.
You mean you won't smell it in yourself?
Yeah,
But
I'm
if you
never
go-
going to smell that.
Well, but if you're... No, I know. Well, okay. But if you were in a public bathroom and somebody was eating asparagus...
I would not know that Does it smell like asparagus, or does it smell differently?
No, it smells like a thing called methyl mercaptan.
I would have recognized that.
We used to use it in our organic lab, and it's also called methane thiol. And it's strong, unpleasant scent associated with fecal odor and bad breath. It's one of the most common odorants found in urine after eating asparagus. So this asparagusic acid, which, by the way, is only found in asparagus, which may be why you don't like it, Tace.
It's nasty.
Of course, you don't like it because your mother made you eat canned asparagus.
Ugh, gross.
And it's green and mushy and it stinks. And then you sit there and go, I'm not eating it. And then you go, well, you're sitting here until you do. I remember sitting in my high chair. My mother gave me that shit.
Yeah. How do you remember sitting in your high chair?
I remember I was sitting in my high chair. We moved from that house when I was 4, so I had to be 3 or 4. And I remember sitting there, and she's like, you're not leaving till you eat it. And I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm not eating it.
That's when you feed it to the dog.
Yeah.
That and chicken livers, man.
I've never tried it.
But there is a...
Back pocket it in your jaw like a chew.
Yeah. Ugh. Slip a little Twix chicken gum.
Between the cheek and gum.
Did you guys ever do the study in, say, high school biology where you have to taste this compound? They put it on a little piece of paper, and if you could taste it, then you were called a taster, and if you couldn't taste it, you were a non-taster. Whoop-de-doo. I wonder how they came up with that name. And then you could trace the gene through your family because it's genetically transmitted from person to person. I can't remember if it was autosomal recessive or dominant. And I think it's recessive because it is kind of rare. And the thing is, my brother and I were both tasters, and he and I hate livers. And I can smell asparagus too, so that may be the same gene or some related gene. But and that's why, look, no one, and my brother agrees with me on this, no one would put liver in their mouth if it tasted to them like it tastes to us. There's no acquired taste to that. It tastes like a lump of shit. Or what you would imagine a lump of shit would taste like. And to other people, they're like, oh, I love these. And it's like, they can't taste the same to you. Now, we look at things like colors, and we all agree that the timer LEDs are red, but my red could be completely different to you. You know, there's no way for us to judge that my brain is translating that into the same sort of image in my, occipital cord, the visual center in the occipital cortex that you do. I see it as red. I can't describe it. It's just red. We see these colors and then we label them, but that could be purple to you. Yep. And actually, if you have blue-green, color blindness, colors do look different to you. So, kind of interesting. Anyway. So there you go. So that's the deal, and the smell can last 15 to 30 minutes after eating asparagus, and within 25 minutes, half of the asparagusic acid consumed has already been absorbed. It's crazy. So it appears quickly. I know that I've eaten it before and then gone to the urinal in a restaurant or something, and I can smell it. Anyway. All right.
I love it.
Let's do another one. And are there other things that do that? I'm not aware of any. You guys aware of anything that make now? There's stuff that makes your
coffee,
feces smell different.
You think coffee makes your pee?
Coffee makes your urine stink.
Does it?
I think so. Can't you smell coffee when you?
I think it just concentrates it because it dehydrates you.
But you still smell it when
you mean just concentrates the urine, you mean? Yeah.
Then that's just how I smell.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't
concentrated urine. Concentrated urine still smells like urine, just stronger. But I can smell coffee in urine.
Really? I don't think I've ever noticed that before.
I have a very good sniffer.
I do not. So
very sensitive.
Huh.
Yeah, I can smell coffee.
There are people that make a living off of smelling things. You know, the perfumeries and
the perfumeries and I saw it on 60 Minutes or something. It was unbelievable. The smells this person could differentiate between like 15,000 different smells or something.
Really?
Right? It's like, what?
Well, how do they?
No, but they have like labeled in jars. Say, well, this is vanilla, Madagascar vanilla, and this is vanilla from wherever. And he's like, oh yeah, this one's from there. And this one's
That's
from there.
pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I mean, after all this time, we have just barely a rudimentary knowledge of how smell even works.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can't be just the molecules are binding to some receptors in there. There can't be that many receptors. You know, you have a receptor for vanilla and cherry and chocolate.
But you also wonder if your brain didn't develop, just a little bit better way of putting together those smells.
Right, but how does it get the input, though?
Yeah,
That's the thing.
That's a good question.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
It may even be some damn quantum phenomenon. It's just crazy.
I've got confirmation. Sean says he can smell his coffee in his urine too.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if Sean says it, by God, it's right.
Well, I'm going to be sniffing.
All right. ABS, always be sniffing.
Always be sniffing.
Yep.
Just wanted to know, for most substances, anywhere from alcohol to caffeine to hardcore drugs, marijuana, what's the detox time for a human to be completely clean? 90 days, a week, a month? Thanks a lot.
Well, okay, to be completely clean, that's a different question from wherein is it detectable?
Testable.
Right. So when you say clean, if you mean free of addiction, that's different for everybody. And, like for nicotine, the physiologic addiction, the withdrawal syndrome is about 2 weeks, but the psychological and the habitual addiction can go on for months, if not years. So, opioids are usually out of your system in 1 to 3 days. This is obviously the detox takes much longer than that if you are, addicted to it. Cocaine 1 to 3 days, ecstasy 2 to 4 days, benzodiazepines like Valium and Ativan and stuff like that 1 to 7 days, methamphetamine 2 to 3 days, and tricyclic antidepressants 7 days, and then marijuana can be up to a month if you're a chronic user and about a week if you're not. The difference is that it is fat soluble, so it inculcates itself into fat cells, which then release them back into the system very slowly. Now, let me ask you this, though. This points out an iniquity in drug testing. So you're a company and you have a zero tolerance policy against all street drugs, and you consider marijuana to be a street drug. And then which would you rather have working in your office? Someone who is all coked up on Monday at work after a long weekend and tests negative on Thursday, or somebody that smoked pot at a Lizzo concert 2 weeks ago and shows up positive on Thursday? Which one would you rather have working in your office? I mean, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
So there's an injustice built into the system if you have a zero tolerance policy, particularly toward marijuana, because it just lasts so long. So methamphetamine 2 to 3 days, I said that already. PCP 1 to 3 weeks. So if you do PCP, and it's still out there.
Is it really?
Yeah, we see a couple of cases.
I was going to ask you what that even is.
Phencyclidine.
Oh.
It was a animal tranquilizer, right?
Yeah.
And people,
Okay.
it caused some sort of psychotic reactions in people. Like back when it was really popular, people come into the emergency room, you couldn't restrain them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'd have to give them domperidone, as a antipsychotic to calm them down. But I want to throw this out there. There is an oral preparation of dexmedetomidine. Now it's like, ooh, okay, yeah, I get it. But dexmedetomidine is also known as Presidex, which is a sedative that we use in the ICU, particularly when you're trying to get somebody off a ventilator, and it doesn't cause respiratory depression, unlike propofol, which is what killed Michael Jackson. That was Michael Jackson's magic milk. It was done improperly and basically killed him. But, and by the way, when it's done by an anesthesiologist, totally safe. Just don't have your doctor just come over and make you sleep every night using propofol.
Yeah, and I would recommend not making any important phone calls after a propofol.
Right.
Because, yeah.
Do you have any personal experience for
Yeah.
saying stupid shit after propofol?
Well, I just made a lot of
I don't remember this.
a lot of things that were bothering me with my mother.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I made a phone call.
Ruh-roh.
Wait, this last time you did that?
Yes.
This is not
Oh,
good.
we've not heard this story.
Yes.
We need to get the couch ready for her.
Can you tell me the story?
Do you want it on the radio?
Can you make it so that it's not so,
So there was something.
You don't have to say the things that you said.
So the woman does things for people that she didn't do for me during a time in my life that was very tragic.
Yeah.
And she just ignored it.
Yeah.
And so I
you called her on the phone after doing propofol and said,
asked her why.
You'll do
But
that.
the problem is you feel perfectly fine. You feel totally
Yes.
normal. There's nothing going on, and you are totally not straight.
Right.
You, You just and I knew that didn't matter. I was like, well, I'm going to call. We're going to work this out right now.
Yeah. Did you work it out? Was there any resolution?
I told her
that you didn't.
that if she argued with me, I would not speak to her for 6 weeks.
Okay.
I said, I have to ask you a question. If you argue with me, I will not speak to you for 6 weeks.
Okay. I would think maybe she would want to argue with you so that she didn't get any more phone calls like that.
She did not.
Well, anyway, so lesson learned on that one.
Yep.
Now, we've talked about this before, but I always did my colonoscopies, DNP Carissa, with no anesthesia. And I highly recommend it if you can deal with it. It's uncomfortable. The worst part about it is that if you're, they project everything on a big, giant 6-foot screen, and just before they enter your colon, your asshole completely fills up the screen. It has to. Right? It gets closer and closer and closer, and then all of a sudden it just fills up the whole screen. You don't really want to see that. So I would just avert my gaze just for a second until they get into the colon, and then it's totally fine because it's parts you haven't seen before. But and then that's fascinating. Mm-hmm. You can see all the different parts of the bowel, from the sigmoid to the transverse to the cecum. And you can see the ileocecal valve and all kinds of things you won't see on yourself.
Yeah.
And there's times when it hurts a little bit, but it's not impossible. And when it's over, you just pull up your drawers, pass gas unless they use nitrogen, in which case you will pass no gas, and then you just get in your car and drive to work.
You thank them for the experience.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
And then when they see when they see you in the hospital, they go, "This person's awesome. They did a colonoscopy without anesthesia." I could not do an EGD, the one from above, the esophago-gastro-duodenoscopy. I could not do that because my gag reflex is so strong. But I can, all day long, I can do a colonoscopy.
I don't know what that says about you.
I was going to say, I think that's...
Well, it just says I don't like the propofol.
Braggy.
Not bragging. I'm not saying that. No, God damn you.
I like stuff up my butt.
I like people sticking two cameras in my butt.
Lady, douchebag.
So anyway, that's you. All right. Fuck all three of you. All right, here we go.
Hey, folks. Quick question for you.
Hey, there's
as far as
Tacie.
payload delivery of a drug.
Okay.
Injectables or IV, that's blood infusion, or Ozempic, that's into the skin. Respiratory, that's into the lungs and absorb that away.
Thank you for educating us.
Topical through the skin. But the poor simple pill, looking at that from an engineering standpoint, how can they engineer that it survives through the stomach acid? But once it gets into the smaller intestines, the larger intestines, it's there long enough to be absorbed into the system before you crap it out, or pee it out.
That is an issue, though. There are, this is a great question. But I want to talk a little bit about ghost tablets. So there are people who apparently obsessively look at their stool all the time, and they'll go, well, that pill ain't doing nothing. It goes right through me. And it's potassium and long-acting opioids are the two big ones. And the reason, and they're called ghost tablets, there's no medicine in them anymore. It's completely leached out, but they make them in a wax matrix to make them last a long time, to do exactly what Stacey's talking about in that question, so that it will last from the stomach through the small intestine, through the large intestine, and leach out the medication over a prolonged period of time. And then what is remained is this wax matrix.
The scaffolding.
Yeah, the scaffolding. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
No,
ooh, okay. Yeah, I like that word, Dr. Scott.
Give thyself a bell.
One. Suck it.
So it is, and you have to explain that to people because they'll say, oh, it just goes right through me. It can't be doing anything. And this was before y'all's time. Tacie might remember this. When Brooklyn Blowhard lost his tooth, he swallowed his crown. He had a $1,500 crown.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
And and I had him digging through his stool for like 3 weeks. And I felt so guilty about it, but it was so funny. And basically, your transit time's around 24 hours.
Yeah.
So it can be faster or somewhat slower than that, but it's never more than much of that. And so, yeah, if you swallow gum, it's not there 7 years later, folks. It's gone within 24 hours. And, yeah, but we had him digging through his stool.
Did you finally just tell him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Told him to stop doing it, that he must have passed it at some point.
That's rude.
It was very rude. It was early on, and we were a little more shock jockey back then. Trying to be, anyway.
Way to be a douche, Dr. Steve.
Yeah, I'm a douche. But anyway.
Lord and Lady Douchebag.
This is what I told him.
You get nothing.
But anyway, so so ghost tablets. That's those things. So that's one way that you can put medicine in a pill and have it, be stable. And some things are. He talked about stomach acid. Now, acid in our stomach, it's relatively strong, but it's not like if you swallow a penny, it's going to dissolve it. It just doesn't work that way. And there are lots of drugs that will only break down in the presence of a basic environment, so they will live through the stomach and make it into the small intestine, where then the pancreatic juices and stuff will neutralize it. And then, because there are some things that are absorbed in the small intestine, so and then some things are just absorbed in the stomach. Yes, it's in an acidic environment. That's bad for proteins and sugars and stuff like that. And there's also enzymes in there that break sugars down. But to just kind of get the work started with meat and proteins and stuff like that, that's really what the stomach acid is there for. It also is a barrier against some bacteria and stuff like that, although so many people in this country take proton pump inhibitors and H2 blockers to raise their pH because they have heartburn, that we kind of defeat that. And then what happens is they get bacteria growing in a slime mold in their small intestines. And what's that called, Tace? When they have abdominal pain and bloating because there's bacteria in their small intestine.
H. pylori?
Oh, now that's a good one. I'll give you a thing for the stomach. But
I don't know what you're talking
about. I'm talking about small intestine.
First of all, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I know.
He's talking about SIBO.
I could tell you were looking at me,
glossy
and there
eyes?
was nothing going on.
It was the glossy
Tacie
eyes.
went to see Lizzo last night.
Yes.
And they got, not only are they tired, but probably a little hungover. So
extremely hungover.
She and PA Jill went to see Lizzo.
Yes.
And then weren't there, did you tell me there were young people behind you saying, we hope we're as cool as those old ladies are? Something like that?
Yeah. No, they were being very friendly about it. They were like, talking to us, but then one of them looks at the other one and says, I hope when we're that old that we go do stuff like that together.
Okay.
But they kept saying it like over, because they had been drinking too.
You guys are so old, but so cool. Yeah,
and
that's
Jill
not
was
exactly
so
a compliment.
intoxicated, she didn't even know what, she was just sloshing water around everywhere. I mean, it was crazy, but it's bad bitch o'clock.
Bad bitch o'clock.
That's right.
Oh, well. It sounds like
bitch
fun.
30.
That's every minute of my day. What about pills that are dissolved ODT?
Okay. You want to talk about what that means?
Sure don't. I was asking you.
Okay. Orally dissolving tablets basically break up in the mouth. Some of them can be absorbed through the buccal mucosa. Some of those, you're not trying to swallow a pill. So if you're nauseated and you're trying to swallow a pill and you drink water with it, you may just throw it back up. But if you have an orally dissolving tablet, you just basically swallow it along with the saliva. And if it is able to be absorbed through mucous membrane, then it will. If not, it'll hit the GI tract and be absorbed there. So yeah, but he's right. It is. There's a lot of technology that goes into making sure that if you give somebody a pill, that it can be metabolized properly. There are drugs like, so lidocaine is an example of one I can think of that is, we use it to numb people up, but we also use it to stop arrhythmias in cardiac, in the cardiac arrhythmias. Sorry, I got my head turned around. So, irregular beats or ectopic or beats that are out of time in the heart. And you can give somebody, back in the day, we would give lidocaine drips for that. But if you gave it to them by mouth, it didn't do anything. Well, the reason was it was just breaking the lidocaine up in the stomach and bringing it down to its component parts. And therefore, didn't work. So they had to come up with a prodrug that would then be absorbed, and then the liver would convert it to lidocaine, and then it would work.
So explain a prodrug.
So a prodrug is a drug
for people
that is a molecule that may have bigger chunks of organic molecules stuck to it, that when you take it, it can be absorbed, and then when it passes through the liver converts it into the drug that you want. A good example of that is a drug called Soma or Carissa Prodol, one of the most addictive muscle relaxers on the market. And it was originally sold as a drug called meprobamate. And meprobamate was a meltdown. Look it up. It was taken off the market just because it was so habit-forming. And then when they took it off the market, the manufacturer's like, well, hell, we got this drug. What are we going to do with it? So they made it into a prodrug called Carissa Prodol. And Carissa Prodol, when you take it, is absorbed by the stomach or small intestine, not sure, and then it passes to the liver through the bloodstream, and then the liver converts it into meprobamate, and that is why, ladies and gentlemen, we would put people on this stuff as a muscle relaxer, could never get anybody off of it, because basically we're just giving them meltdown, but at the time we didn't know the chemistry as well as we do now.
That's what I'm named after.
Really? Carissa Prodol?
Yeah, it was my mom's favorite drug.
She's still on her Somies. And if you remember, Soma was the drug that they took in Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. And then they named this fucking drug, well, I guess I shouldn't say that in case this allegedly fucking drug, after this panacea drug in that utopian, dystopian book, Brave New World. So
I wonder if now would also be a good time to talk about pH-dependent medications.
There you go. I like it. Okay.
For example,
okay, wait a minute.
Give thyself a bell.
There you go. Yes, you get a bell for that. Go ahead.
For example, like when you take, because we know most of our listeners, probably 80%, I would say, take some type of proton pump inhibitor or.
Yeah, that's true across America.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If it's not working for you, take it about 30, 45 minutes before you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to get all those pumps fired and get that pH where it needs to be.
You're talking about the PPI itself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Because?
Well, that's all I have to say about that.
Yep. Next.
Okay.
I mean, certain, medicines go through the stomach and different times in the stomach. It's different pHs and.
Right. So you're saying if you're going to take your proton pump inhibitor.
Well, I was just saying
take it
that as
30
an
minutes
example.
before you eat.
Yeah.
Because when you eat, it's going to fire up the proton pumps, and then
Yes.
it will kill them.
And the more you kill, the better
the more
off
that are
you are.
right. The more that are active, the more it'll kill.
But aren't other medications pH dependent?
Sure. Yeah. pH being basically the ratio between water and protons equals acid. So it's a measure of acid. So the lower the pH, the more acidic an environment is. The 7 is considered neutral, and then above that would be considered basic. And yes, absolutely, every water-soluble thing has probably got some relationship with pH and to some degree. Yeah.
So pay attention when it says with or without food.
Yes, very good. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, I would give you another bell, but it seems like it's redundant now.
I don't feel like it is.
Give thyself a bell.
All right. Very good, Tacie.
You can
Excellent job.
suck it.
Damn it. Jesus.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
With Walmart's new fresh and frozen subscriptions, you can save time on your weekly grocery shopping.
Dad, you're supposed to be grocery shopping.
And miss the chance to embarrass you in front of your friends? I subscribe to Snacks and Wet Napkins. You know how messy you are.
Dad!
Walmart. Subscribe to your weekly list.
Earning your degree online doesn't mean you have to go about it alone. At Capella University, we're here to support you when you're ready. From enrollment counselors who get to know you and your goals, to academic coaches who can help you form a plan to stay on track. We care about your success and are dedicated to helping you pursue your goals. Going back to school is a big step, but having support at every step of your academic journey can make a big difference. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
Why aren't you wearing setting spray? Avoid makeup meltdowns with Urban Decay's award-winning all-nighter setting spray. A quick spritz locks your look in for up to 16 hours. Rain or shine, workout or night out. It's waterproof and guarantees your makeup stays put, no matter how crazy your day gets. With over 50,000 five-star reviews, Urban Decay's all-nighter setting spray is the best of the best. Get your Try Me size at Sephora.
This episode is brought to you by Opill, the first over-the-counter daily birth control pill available in the U.S. Opill is FDA approved, full prescription strength and estrogen-free. Plus, there's no prescription needed. Finally, the days of needing a prescription for birth control are over. Opill is available online and at most major retailers. Take control of your health and reproductive journey with Opill. Birth control in your control. Use code BIRTHCONTROL for 25% off your first month of Opill at Opill.com.
Quick question for you. You ever been just feeling just fine, and all of a sudden you get an emergency bowel movement, and it is so brutal that you need to take a nap afterwards?
No.
What's going on with that? I mean, it's just so much energy exhausted at one point that you need to go to bed, or what?
Have you guys ever experienced this? Where you take a giant dump and then you have to take a nap afterward?
No, but I do nap a lot, and no.
Well, and you do shit a lot.
You know,
I
it's
do
like
do
he
that.
Had, it's like he had an orgasmic experience.
Literally what I was thinking.
and
You know, did he
just
stimulate
passed through
himself
his-
and he was like, fuck, I gotta
passed
take a
through
nap
his,
now.
Yeah, colon and popped his prostate and.
There are people that will exude prostatic fluid through their
urethral meatus.
There you
When-
go.
when there's a,
yep, that's correct.
Yeah. Dang it! Oh man, I should be tuning
that counts. Okay.
Hey,
Give thyself a.
Okay. They will exude prostatic fluid through their urethral meatus if they have a big giant turd, and that is because anybody know?
Fluid dynamics.
Fluid, yes. Okay, you get a metaphoric bell. People are sick of hearing the bell thing. I pushed it. So
We
many
don't
times
care.
today.
Oh, we don't care.
Okay,
No,
you don't
it's
care.
2-2.
Give
right?
thyself.
That's
Hey,
three-
there's got to be fun
yes,
on both sides
yes,
here.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Well, you mean because the relative proximity between the colon and the prostate, distal colon and prostate.
That's right. So the back part of the prostate is the front part of the colon, and if you have a congested prostate. What we call that blue balls, but blue balls is just basically congestion of the prostate from stimulation without emptying it out. Then if they have a big giant American turd and they pass it past that, it's just like massaging the prostate. And they don't have an orgasm, but they may get prostatic fluid that exudes out the end of the penis through the urethral meatus. People think that they have an orgasm, or like when the doctor checked my prostate, he made me ejaculate. No, they didn't. That's not an ejaculation. Ejaculation is the rhythmic contraction of the seminal vesicles due to a spinal reflex that's in response to sexual stimulation. But if you just stick your finger in somebody and push down on their big boggy prostate and fluid comes out the end, that's not an ejaculation. But doctors need to warn people about that if they're going to, by God, do a prostatic massage so that they don't think stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, what else could make someone take a nap after they?
Well, I was wondering.
Stimulating the vagus nerve.
You think?
That's what the research is telling me.
What? Okay, well, expound on that because I don't know how the vagus nerve's got anything to do with that. Go ahead, tell us what you found.
I'm still reading.
Oh my God! Okay.
Oh my God! You can stimulate your vagus nerve, causing a kind of euphoria.
Yes.
Well, maybe it's
through a bowel movement.
Oh, you know what?
Yes.
Because
of the straining.
Yeah, straining so hard chokes him out.
Okay.
Because we do have older folks that.
Well, that's true.
Strain so hard.
It may not be the bowel
movement.
movement. It could be the straining.
Could be. All right, Stace, we figured it out.
According to the authors, this feeling, which they call is poophoria.
Poophoria. Ooh, that's a name for a new band. No, she ain't going for that.
I don't deserve
think, Tacie,
any
do you?
bells. It's fine.
I don't think so.
I'm not welcome here. I don't deserve bells.
Oh, that's not true. You're always welcome.
Poophoria would be a good band name.
Yes.
That's the name of this show is going to be Poophoria.
Yeah.
The truth is. Better believe that.
But basically, if he needs to nap after taking a shit because he stimulated he had a vagus nerve.
Give you a phone call.
No, I feel like
Keep
he
it
might
easy,
need to see a provider in regards to that.
Yeah, I was wondering if it could be like something like adrenal insufficiency or something, because those folks, when they're not producing stress hormones, the adrenal gland is above the kidney, and it produces stress hormones, cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, that kind of stuff. And if you have adrenal insufficiency, any sort of strain can cause you to just end up having to go to bed.
Dump your energy.
They'll get a cold, and then they'll just be so sick you almost have to put them in the hospital. It's like, why? You're a big baby. What's wrong with you? And then, if you check a thing called a cortisone stimulation test, you see it's wildly abnormal. Put them on 5 milligrams of prednisone and they're good to go. So, but I like your idea of the vagus nerve stimulation instead. And I was so fixated on stool coming out of the bowel, I wasn't thinking about how do you get one out of there. You've got to force it, that Valsalva maneuver. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you.
Good question.
Yep, good question, good answer from everybody. All right.
Not me.
Dr. Steve, this is the Boodmaster.
Hello, man.
Hey, I had sent you something after your discussion on the Patreon regarding washing your hands for 20 seconds or more.
Okay, by the way, that makes the Patreon sound not very interesting, but no, it's actually very interesting. And check it out at patreon.com/weirdmedicine. Anyway, go ahead.
And I responded to you that back in the 70s, I was working at something called Mansfield Training School. It was a place for, at the time, called mentally retarded people.
Okay.
And at the facility during our training, you were only allowed to use, when they told you about washing your hands, only allowed to use cold water.
Right.
They said that warm water or hot water, you could never get the hot water hot enough to kill germs, but the cold water would kill germs.
Now, okay, so they wanted you to use cold water because they didn't want you guys, having people who were challenged mentally using hot water for anything. They didn't want them to burn them.
Injured,
So half of this is true, and half of this is bullshit.
This is
So,
very
Just looking for your feedback on that.
Yep.
Because ever since I've used cold water to wash my hands.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I sing happy birthday 3 times.
Yes.
Love you guys. Be well.
Thank you.
Can't wait to hear your answer.
So
bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you. My answer is just use your preferred water temperature because it doesn't matter. He's absolutely right that to kill germs with water, it has to be scalding hot, so don't do that.
Okay.
But some people feel psychologically cleaner if they use warm water. Some feel psychologically cleaner if it's cold water. It doesn't matter. COVID, for example, doesn't like any kind of water.
Right.
It has a lipid coat, and it doesn't do well in fresh water. The CDC says warm and cold water remove the same number of germs from your hands. The water helps create soap lather that removes the germs from your skin when you wash your hands. So I don't know if you know how soap works, but we make soap from fats using a process called saponification. You expose it to a strong base in the presence of water, and what happens is you get one end of the molecule is soluble in fat, and the other end of the molecule is soluble in water. It's perfect if you want to wash something. So now most dirt is fat soluble, but some of it's water soluble. So if it is fat soluble and then you wash your hands with it, it will dissolve the fat type dirt, and then the water soluble end will allow it to be washed off with water. See, if you try washing your hands with Wesson oil, what happens is that you have hands that are covered in oil, and you put it under the water, and then the oil repels the water. You can't ever get rid of it.
Yeah.
But soap is like Wesson oil that also is water soluble. And so back in before they invented soap, my understanding is the ancient Egyptians used very fine pounded sand. Probably where the term "go pound sand" comes from, because they would get some
never heard that term
person to do it.
Is that from like
1970 something? Yeah, probably. Okay. Okay.
Can you shut up?
So,
go pound sand.
You never heard
Steve.
"go pound sand"?
No.
Really?
That was before our time. I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay.
That must be what you did for fun back in the 50s.
Have you heard "go shit in your hat"?
Only from you, sweetie.
Oh, go shit in your hat. Of course, nobody wears hats. Well, they wear caps now. But anyway.
Why would you shit in your hat?
It was like you just tell somebody, go shit in your hat if you didn't like them, or you were arguing with them. You didn't want to. You didn't have a cogent response to whatever point they were making. You'd just get frustrated and say, go shit in your hat.
Off.
Yeah. Or shit on you.
Shit onions.
Shit on you is what we say
Shit onions.
nowadays.
Right. Shit and fall back in it.
Yeah, shit and fall back in it.
Oh,
Wow.
my God.
What did they say in Baltimore, DNP?
Fuck
Chris?
off.
Oh, just fuck off. Okay, fair. Okay.
Or nothing.
Yeah.
Just stare at you like, why the fuck are you even talking?
So, anyway, that's soap. Now
that's
the ancient
soap.
Egyptians would pound sand, right, in a mortar and pestle, and then they would dissolve it in oil, usually perfumed oil, and then they would rub it on their skin and then scrape it off with a knife.
It sounds like a really nice spa procedure.
Yeah, but for us, we could get in the shower though with soap and water afterward. You wouldn't, but if you used olive oil, maybe it would be okay. Maybe we should try that sometime.
I would let someone rub that all over me and do it, as long as it was in a professional setting.
Okay.
Why?
Why a professional setting?
Let's just do it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. She's easy. All right.
Just seemed like something that needed to be done professional.
I am a professional.
She is professional.
Yeah, I'm a professional. All right. Here we go. Here's a good one.
Hello, Dr. Steve. I have a question.
Yep.
Yeah, I just called you. But my real question is, people who have sundowners, if you get them a light, you know how they have the light for people that take melatonin at night that slowly kind of wakes them up?
Yep.
Turns on slowly. If you give them a light that turns on slowly as the day gets darker, like in their room or their area lights up more, do you think that would help with that?
That's a good question.
I think it's a great question.
Know. My dad has issues, and he's showing like issues of sundowners. He gets pretty bad at nighttime. And I was just wondering if you think it would help. Would it be worth a shot? What is your opinion on that? Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
It is a weird phenomenon, isn't it, that when the sun starts to go down, some people with dementia or delirium can just start getting wackier and wackier, and it's so common. We call it sundowning phenomenon. There is some research that first off, sundowning is not a standalone condition, so you got to treat it in a multifactorial way, but bright light therapy has been, in a couple of studies, shown to maybe improve that. So,
really?
Because sundowning is related to sort of changes in their sleep-wake pattern, and so increasing daytime sunlight, even artificially in the wintertime, because there's more nighttime, right?
Fair.
Can help decrease sundowning behaviors and severity of the sundowning behaviors in patients with dementia. So
that makes sense. I thought he was asking if you put the light on when it was dark, that would make it worse.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because you need to maintain sleep-wake cycles.
That is correct. I think what you could do is prolong daytime with that, though. So let's say, in some places, particularly in the city, have you ever noticed that because there's high-rise buildings that it seems to get really creepily darker way earlier than it should in the city because you only have overhead sunlight for a few hours, if that. And for those folks, if they're having sundowners at, say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, why not try a light box
until 7 o'clock?
Until like 7 o'clock at night.
As long as it's consistent.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what would matter. I mean, I haven't read any studies on that.
That's right.
But.
Well, this study I'm looking at, they think that it improves serotonin and endorphin levels. It makes them more normal. This would not be a panacea for it. Obviously, there's neurologic damage and that kind of stuff, but might be helpful. I think worth a try. And it's cheap. You can buy one of these lights at Amazon. And
I use mine every day.
Do you have seasonal affective disorder? Yeah, do you? So let's talk about that for a minute. Some people in the wintertime have increased depression, and it may be due to this change in those sort of diurnal rhythms. And people do better that are exposed to bright lights during the day. So how do you do yours?
My light?
Yeah. No, your kombucha brewing.
Okay, fuck
it doesn't
me.
seem to be working. She's going to have to double the dose of light every day.
Okay, she's flipping everybody off. All right. So, no, seriously, how do you do it?
Fuck if I know.
Now she's mad at me again.
Look what you did.
Yeah, good. Well, at least she's mad at you.
Yeah, that's right.
It was both of you motherfucking assholes. I turn it on.
Okay.
And I look at it.
Yeah. How often?
How long?
And for how long?
Every day.
Yes.
Anytime I'm at my computer, because it is on my desk with my computer.
Okay.
Because it's very dark in that section of my room.
Okay.
Or my place or whatever the hell. And So if I'm sitting there, even if I'm not on my computer, that's just where the damn thing is. I turn it on and I sit there. Usually, it has a little timer, so I usually set it to 15 minutes.
Okay.
But
Now,
I mean,
for real, can you tell a difference? Have you done an A/B test between not doing it and doing it?
what do you think? Yeah,
I don't
of
know.
course.
I mean, sometimes we just do stuff because we do it. I don't know. I mean, I brew my own kombucha. I can't tell you that it's actually doing anything for me.
It's very good, though. I will tell you that.
It is very good.
Yes.
So
but you enjoy doing it, so it's not like you just do it for the fuck of it.
True.
So I feel much better when I use my light than when I don't, especially in the winter when there's like no sunlight.
Yeah.
Or it's too cold to enjoy the sun. I depend on it. I mean, I am very, very affected by not having sun.
Really?
And I find it in.
So if you miss it for a day, can you tell the difference?
Probably not a day.
Okay.
But if I went a few days, or especially if it was like a week, I went on vacation and I didn't take it with me.
Yeah.
And when I was in Germany, and so the weather was pretty shit a few times because October and rain. So, anyways, I could tell a difference then.
Okay.
So
interesting. Yeah. So worth a try.
Worth a try.
Yeah, they're not very expensive.
No.
And now if you can get them to sit there, and what you want to do is don't wait till the sundowning starts. You want to sort of have a period of overlap between natural daylight and this thing, and just see. You know, if he likes to watch TV in the afternoon or something, just crank that thing up and see what, and let us know. But talk to your primary care. I mean, if he's sundowning, there's other things that need to be done. But
and I would just put it, somewhere that they're used to.
Yeah.
If they do the same thing every night, just put the light there and
easily accessible.
They won't know that it's something different.
Okay, sounds good.
So you're not changing their routine.
Gotcha. We have a no, thank you.
I love geriatrics, so I just go off when there's a geriatric topic.
That's very interesting. We've got a Mom Swipes left. We'll probably do that one on the podcast. I've got a quick question on, here's a good one. Here we go. We'll do this one.
Hey, Dr. Steve, this is Dean in the Northwest. And I heard one thing that they say is that the anal sex makes the butthole, makes the ass bigger. My question is, does it make, do they mean that when they say that, do they mean that it makes the ass bigger or the actual hole?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It's a good question. There's a lot of confusion about anal sex and ass play, and they've done studies where they take a pressure probe and stick it up someone's rectum and then have them clench down and see how much pressure they can apply, and then have them do a bunch of ass play either with devices or with human parts. And then they have them come back and squeeze again, and they can't squeeze as hard as they did before. So there is a decrease in the anal tone, but the good news is it doesn't matter, because who cares as long as you're not just dropping turds all over the floor. So, and there's tons of redundancy when it comes to that anal sphincter, and it's perfectly capable of doing this. Now, go low and go slow, and don't put anything up there that wasn't, like a toy that wasn't designed for it. No fruits and vegetables, no light bulbs, no Coke bottles, because this is what happens is you lose track of them, and then they end up in your sigmoid colon, and you can't remove them, and now you got to go to the emergency room to have them removed. And if it happens, I've talked about this a bunch lately, but I'm going to reiterate it. The common fiction that we've all decided that we will accept is just say I sat on it. And then that way you don't have to deal with, feeling humiliated. You need to take care of that.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't let your reticence to be embarrassed in the emergency room keep you from getting that treated, because it's actually a medical or surgical emergency. Okie-doke. Okay, before we go, Dr. Scott, you have something from the fluid family, which is the chat room in the YouTube channel. If you guys want to check us out, we're usually there around sometime on Saturday. Just follow my Twitter feed at Weird Medicine.
Don't worry, I won't
Such
fuck
a
it up
shit
again.
show.
It is.
No, it's not you.
Oh, I won't be here the next 2 weeks, so
No,
don't
honey,
worry. Y'all can go right on time.
What they're talking about is sometimes we do it at 1, sometimes we do it on Wednesday. There's no set schedule. So.
There should be, but
But
you know,
we're
with
not
Saturday,
and
we're cutting into our drinking time.
We're not pushing the YouTube thing. It's just there for fun if people want to hang with us. So, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So Vegas cyclist. I have an itchy crotch. He is a male. How can I tell if it's a fungus or a rash? I've been using a fungal cream. He's been using Lamotrin. Just wondering how I could determine what actually is causing the rash.
Okay, Lotrimin. Okay.
Yeah.
Did it get better or worse with the Lotrimin?
Doesn't sound like it got better. He wouldn't be asking us. I'm guessing that's my
me
guess.
too. Yeah.
Smart
I think he's still on there, but
no, that's the problem. DNP Carissa is that when sometimes people ask questions, we don't get follow up, so we have to sort of make assumptions. So, assuming he's done it for 2 weeks and by the manufacturer's instructions and it's still there, I would look at it, get a mirror out and look. Now, if you have a black light, you can shine it on there, and then if you see a bright pink salmon color, anybody remember what that is? I'm getting the bell ready.
That is Aspergillus.
No. Boo.
Asparagus.
Definitely.
Astragalus.
It's an astragalus. Bacteria astragalus.
No, it's called erythrasma, and we actually
that was close.
We actually had someone that called in recently, and it turned out that they had it.
Oh shoot! Yeah.
So that was pretty.
I
cool.
remember that. Yeah.
And erythrasma is a bacterium it's caused by Corynebacterium, and it has to be treated with an antibiotic, not an antifungal. Now, but he's a cyclist, and it's his taint. This is what I'm worried about. Tacey's got the knowing smile or nod. What do you think, Tace?
I don't.
Oh, you were like, yeah, like I know. Okay, I'm sorry.
Like we're getting it ready to get the hell out of here.
Okay, all right.
Answer, Dr. Steve. You can go ahead.
Yeah.
Wax on, Dr. Steve. Wax on.
Jesus
Getting
Christ.
out of here.
Stop bullshitting.
Okay, so I'm a little concerned about pudendal neuropathy.
I think he needs to get it checked out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So pudendal neuropathy is a thing that cyclists can get. We usually think about pain in the taint and numbness in the scrotum and testicles. I mean, scrotum and penis. But it can manifest, particularly early on, as itching. So as you stimulate those damaged receptors. So I would get, for sure, get it looked at. But for sure, get a seat that allows you to take pressure off your pudendal nerve. They make these ones that are just you put your ischial tuberosity. That's your ass bone. If you're sitting right now,
bones.
Yeah, it's where you sit on, and they have bicycle seats that only touch that, and they don't touch the taint at all. And I would highly recommend considering that because once pudendal neuropathy gets kicked in, then you just can't ride your bike anymore. And it may or may not come back.
A jogger.
Yeah, it may or may not come back if you let it go long enough.
Right.
So, okay.
Good.
So get that checked out. All right.
All right.
Now we've got mom swipes left, and people were complaining about my sweeper that I made, so I'm just going to play it.
Dr. Steve, we have a question. I had a grandmother, and granted, she was 98.
And this is from the Mom Swipes Left podcast. They're friends of the show, and they have great questions.
And they didn't like your sweeper?
No, it wasn't them. It wasn't them. It was people on Reddit were complaining about it. So.
She's dead now. Back in the day when she was kicking, she was always freezing cold. I remember this one night that we were having a cookout, and it was a super fucking hot day. The temperature outside was 95 at least, if not more. And she was bundled up in a blanket and sweaters and all that stuff, and she was shivering. Her lips were a little blue. Jesus. And everyone was worried that she had hypothermia. But I kept arguing that even if she was cold-blooded, had turned cold-blooded somehow in old age, the outside temperature was enough to keep her
from having hypothermia.
Can humans die of hypothermia in weather
that is above body temperature?
Yeah, that's above body temperature.
Or your...
Because it looked to me like she could.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So how'd she die?
My mom pushed her off the step and she broke her hip.
Is that true?
Jesus.
No, she actually died. She fell off a step at my mom and dad's house because she was living there. My mom denies pushing her.
Okay.
And then she had hip surgery and she threw a clot and died.
Well, that
I'm
happens,
sorry.
especially when your body temperature is so low.
But if you have to say, I swear I didn't push her down the stairs, that's very suspicious. It's like when certain people say, I swear on my, the life of my kids. Then, why would you say that if you weren't lying? So, or when someone goes, totally true story, it's a lie. So, so older folks do feel cold more acutely than other folks do, and they have a thinner layer of fat under the skin, making them more susceptible to cold. But conditions like diabetes, peripheral artery disease, and kidney disease can restrict blood flow and just lower their body temperature, and so they're going to feel cold all the time. Also, old folk, and not just old folk, but some people in this room can also have low thyroid, which means they're going to feel subjectively cold all the time. Can they die of hypothermia? No, but they can die of the peripheral artery disease, the diabetes, and all that stuff.
But you can have low thyroid and be perimenopausal and sweat all the time.
That's right. And then you're just fucked.
You're just fucked.
And you're so.
I'm too cold,
so
too
hosed.
hot.
So you got to treat all that stuff.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm going to say no, you couldn't die of hypothermia, but you can die of all the things that make you feel that way.
Yes.
And diabetic neuropathy as well could manifest as distortion in the perception of heat and cold. And in that case, you get old folks who are bundling up in 90, 100 degree weather, and then they die of hyperthermia because they get heat stroke. Because their body now, the core temperature is increasing and they're not sweating, so they can't get rid of the heat. And that's the end of that. So that's a possibility. So, so the perception of cold could kill them, but it's not going to be hypothermia. Excellent question.
Good question.
Excellent question.
They always have good questions.
They do.
And they're funny. All right. Well, listen, thanks to everyone who is listening to this show right now.
All four of you.
Thank you to Tacie. Thanks to DNP Carissa. And thanks to Dr. Scott. Listen to our SiriusXM show on the Faction Talk channel. SiriusXM channel 103, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, on demand, particularly on demand, and other times at Jim McClure's pleasure. And thanks to our listeners whose voicemail and topic ideas make this job very easy. Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/weirdmedicine. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps, quit smoking, get off your asses, get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine.
Thank you, everyone.